They did try to introduce this idea to Americans and you guys kicked back hard. And most of these things on this list are from personal experience, but this one isn't, and I'll give you a good reason why. You both treat them better, as well as simultaneously treating them worse. So today we're going to look at some differences between European and American stores. Previously on the channel, I have looked at the differences between supermarkets in the USA versus Ireland, and you should definitely check out that list because I'm not going to go over the same stuff again today because that would be boring.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
In that list, I covered things like how you have to pay for trolleys usually in Ireland, and that's the case in most stores in Europe too, and also how you store the eggs differently, but I feel like every list that ever talks about supermarkets does that. Today we're going to take a deeper dive because there are so many differences between the stores there and here. If you've never left the USA or if you've never left Europe, this should give you a good insight into them. Something I love to do, I've done a couple of times on this channel, is do supermarket walkthroughs. I've done them in Ireland on this channel and I've done them in Spain on my Patreon. You can check that out here. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time. Also the undercoverness of it all, because you can't get permission to film in a supermarket. You can also subscribe here for a short period of time only. It's going to be completely free. You can subscribe for free. Leave a thumbs up and comment. Bash the keyboard if you need to. Just leave something. It's all about engagement. Something that I think before we get into the list also goes without saying is American supermarkets are way larger and there's a lot more variety. So let's just get that out of the way. And on to the more interesting things. Okay, the first huge difference, and perhaps that's punny of a title to say, is everything in American stores is jumbo. And I know it's often said about food in America that your portion sizes are bigger, but it's not just those. Things like shower gel, cereal boxes, you have the option to buy these huge ones, whereas our regular standard sizes are way smaller. There's a couple of reasons for this. I think generally in Europe we tend to have smaller kitchens and we don't have usually things like pantries unless we've gone out of our way to have one. It's just not a standard thing that we have. Also, I've talked about here before on the channel that you guys have a lot more preservatives and things in your food items so they last longer, and that's another reason you would have bigger sizes of food. But like I said, it's other things, like even bleach. You can buy the biggest bottles of bleach, and I think that's freaking awesome, because then if you could just buy the bigger one and go with like a big car or whatever, which generally you guys have in America, you can really load up on stuff and not have to go to the supermarket again for a long time. Theoretically, let me know if that actually works out for you. That being said, it leads me on to the cost of things. So it might surprise you to hear, and it certainly surprised me when I looked it up, that America is the 16th most expensive when it comes to grocery shopping in the world. That's really low down, whereas I actually think of grocery supermarket shopping in America would tend to be quite expensive. And that is because the cost per ounce is lower in America, and that's what they're comparing, whereas you're buying bigger products, so you're spending more. It's funny how they trick you like that. The next thing that is different about American versus European stores is generally American stores are seen as a one-stop shop. You go there, you load up your vehicle, and you go. There's a huge selection of different items that you can purchase. European stores tend to be more specialized. So yes, we would do a grocery shop for sure, but a lot of people tend to prefer to go to a butcher for their meat, for example. There's a higher quality of meat in the butchers than there is in most standard supermarkets. Same goes for baking. You might prefer to get your bread from a bakery. You can of course buy it from the supermarket, but it won't be the fresh good bread that you get. Especially the older generation of Europeans who do their grocery shopping will go to a lot of different stores. Younger people kind of tend to be lazier and we just go to one shop and we buy the cheapy bread and the cheapy chicken, and then I go, how come my mom's chicken is so much nicer? Because she bought the good chicken in the butcher. Speaking of selection of items, you guys love a theme. I love that about America. You also load your stores early up on whatever the upcoming holiday is, and not necessarily even the next holiday. I have heard from a patron recently that you guys have your Valentine's Day stuff in the store already. Apparently even St. Patrick's Day items are there too. That is wild to me. Like, we definitely feel the onslaught of Christmas things before Halloween now in European stores, and to me that's wild. But in America, like, you can buy year-round holiday themed stuff pretty much. This next one, I'm going to need some audience participation because this is what I found when I googled it. Most of these things on this list are from personal experience, but this one isn't, and I'll give you a good reason why. So when I was Googling differences between European and American stores, something that came up was American stores apparently don't have the little weighing scales in most shops that we have in Europe. Is that the norm? Most stores don't. So when we go to buy vegetables or fruit, you will generally like get a little plastic bag from a rolly thing, and then you'll put your apples in or whatever, and then you'll weigh them and you'll press the apples button and you'll put them in your cart, and then when you go to scan them, you've got the barcode. Is that not a thing in America? The reason I don't know this is because whenever I visited the States, I've been loading up on your cereal and stuff. I definitely have not been buying vegetables. Sorry.
I and all your regular viewers are truly shocked.
No, I'm not sorry. Your trash food is freaking awesome. I love your trashy food, USA. I'm gonna scan over this one because I feel like people mention it a lot, but it is the tax thing. It's very confusing as a foreigner when I go to an American store of any kind that I don't know how much all my groceries are gonna cost until I get to the end. And for groceries, this is particularly difficult because you get a lot more little things. Like, you really have to keep track, right? When you're shopping, that's tough. Anyway, bypassing that one because people mention it a lot. The next big difference, this is how differently you guys treat your staff in stores. You both treat them better as well as simultaneously treating them worse. So one thing I freaking love about American stores is how friendly the people who work there are. Like, I could be picking something off a shelf and just out of the blue, somebody will pop up in the cereal aisle and be like, "Hi, can I help you with anything?" And I'm like, that is so nice. That is so nice. A lot of times in European stores, you will feel like you're bothering someone if you ask them. Here we have stores that are like chain stores. You tend to have also in the USA like Aldi and Lidl. And as I think is the same there, you don't even have staff members wandering around. You just have the people stocking the shelves and the cashiers. You don't have like people who are around to help out. In European stores, if you're asking somebody who works there for help, you can often feel like you're bothering them, like they're trying to do their job and you're bothering them. It's not their primary job to help you. You're expected to know how to navigate a supermarket or a store by yourself. Also, I've never heard of a European store that works on commission. Maybe some of the high-end designer stores do, but I have never ever heard of that, and I know that's a big thing in stores in the USA. Another thing staff are allowed to do in Europe that seems to be a big issue in the States, I brought this up recently on a video, is we let our people who were working at the till sit down if they need to. There's a seat there, and I don't see why that wouldn't be a thing. I don't think you're less efficient if you're standing or if you're sitting, so I really don't know why there's been such a fuss caused by that. I've seen like people on Reddit forums and Ask Quora and all that kind of thing saying like they wanted to sit down and their boss wouldn't let them. Like, you're just beeping stuff through. You should be allowed to sit down. Really, in my opinion, does not affect your efficiency. Maybe you feel differently. Let me know below in comments. Another thing that is different, and I suppose this is obvious, but also I said it recently to some people and they were surprised. We have a foreign food section. Of course, it's usually smaller than most American stores would have in supermarkets, but we have USA as the foreign food section. Yeah. The USA food is classed as exotic food, and I think a lot of the food there is not stuff most American people would eat on the daily. Usually there will be some kind of cereal. There is always that marshmallow goo. Is it just called goo? I think it might be just called goo. You'll always get some kind of crisp chips, and usually you'll find something in there that's just random. You won't even find in America, but has an American flag on it. The next thing that is both good and bad as a difference between American and European stores is seasonal produce. So in Europe, a lot more than in the USA, we will have seasonal produce. Generally, as I understand it, American stores strive to have brand names year-round, and you'll produce like all the same vegetables, all the same fruits year-round. Thank you to science for making that possible, I guess. Whereas in most European stores, especially not chain stores, they will focus more on what is in season at the moment. You cannot, at a certain time of year, find strawberries for love nor money in certain parts of Europe. I wanted to buy a melon a few months ago. Could not find a melon. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm sure somewhere you can get a melon, but it's not the norm. So they will highlight whatever is in season. Also on that note, local delicacies are favored. So if you're somewhere where cheese is a big thing, like in France, they will have a way bigger selection of cheeses. Fish is big where I am in Spain right now. There's a lot of fish selections. And again, there will be seasonal fish selections. So something that's more popular in summer versus something that's more popular in winter. Of course, as I said, there are international chain stores and there will be more reliable for your brand name things. This leads me on to restricted items. I think everybody knows by now that in America, you uniquely can buy pew pew. I'm always iffy if I can say the word. If you can't figure out that charades game there, you should not ever play charades. You can buy them famously in Walmart. It's a lot of debate. Other things that might surprise you, you cannot get in regular stores in Europe are things like pepper spray, mace, any kind of self-defense item. You will usually have to go to a specialist store or perhaps they're banned altogether. For example, in Ireland, you cannot have mace or pepper spray. Recently, I don't know if he was trolling, but there was a guy on TikTok who got snared for trying to bring in pepper spray to Dublin Airport. You cannot have them. They are classed as an assault weapon. But you can, for example, buy them in Spain. You can buy pepper spray in Spain. I bought pepper spray. So exciting. It was an exciting day for Diane. But I had to go to a specialist shop to get it. And the shop had all kinds of weapons and things like that. It was a specialist shop. You can't buy it in a store. The next thing, and I kind of envy this one, is coupons. Coupons. I love how Americans say that. Coupons. Coupons. I would say coupons. So there's that famous TV show, which I can't think of the name of, where people try to get their entire grocery things for the cost of coupons.
$1,735.53. 000.
And coupons are just not as big of a thing in Europe. We do have them, but you cannot buy your entire groceries with coupons. That just doesn't exist for some reason. I can't think what the benefit of all those coupons would be. I know the idea is to get you to, buy two, get one free, but when you can figure it out a way around it that you can get like 90% of everything free, that to me seems wild, and I'm not sure what the benefit of it is. Let me know. I really would like that explained to me in comments. And finally, the biggest difference is recycling. So we've talked about in the past how in Europe you have to bring your own recyclable bag with you, whereas in America you get free plastic bags. They did try to introduce this idea to Americans and you guys kicked back hard. Apparently there is a cost of $100 billion a year on plastic bags in America, but you guys were like, we don't care, don't take away our plastic bags. You do what you like. But something that might be of further interest to you is that in a lot of stores in Europe, you can recycle and get money back. We had a big thing in Ireland for years where the milkman would deliver milk to your house and you could put the empty milk bottles back out and he would return full ones. There's a similar thing, I believe, in German stores and also some other stores in Eastern Europe where you can return any glass bottles and you put them in the thing and you get like coins back. Recycling is highly encouraged in European stores. Doesn't seem to have caught on in the States. Let me know what you think about that. Shout out today to a couple of very special people.
Our first shout out comes from Ricky Carey, and he wants to shout out all the florists taking the time to grow flowers and sell them for Valentine's Day. There sure is a lot of hard work that goes into that, I know, because I've killed many plants in my time. Thank you so much, Ricky. Our second shout out comes from Brian Ediger. He wants to shout out all the delivery folks, especially those delivering in bad weather. He says stay safe and thanks for bringing us our orders. Those guys do work really hard. If you're one of them, wrap up well, guys and gals. Thank you so much, Brian.
That's it for today. See you guys on the other side. Bye. The baby. Oh, my eyebrows particularly blonde today. Are you so tired? Come on. Oh, juice broke.